What's up, everyone? My name is Zain, and I really appreciate you guys tuning in today, taking your time out wherever or whenever you're consuming this, whether it be with breakfast or you're at the gym or I don't know how or you're on your commute. I'm not sure, but however you're consuming this, appreciate you tuning in, and let's get straight into it. Right, so let's start off with talking about what external and internal gratification is, or external and internal stimuli. If we start off with external, it is essentially things such as cars, boats, houses, vacation, girlfriend, boyfriend, sex, porn, drugs, alcohol, partying, clothes. These are the things in the external environment that will stimulate us in a certain way. Internal is more so how you feel about yourself, right? So how you feel about yourself when you're by yourself. And it's completely independent of the external environment. So you can feel emotions such as sadness, guilt, depression, judgment, all of these things. And a lot of these things tend to stem from our environment as a child. Because as a child from 0 to 7, your subconscious mind is completely open. You have no idea. You take everything in. Right? As a child, you see children playing with so many different things, and they're very curious. Why? They're taking everything in. Right? So whatever your environment was at that time, you believe that that is your reality. That is the reality that you should be living in, which is why every single person on this planet lives in a different reality. And now as adults, what we can do is we can understand that those are emotions that we don't want to feel. And so you can also feel emotions such as joy, happiness, love, laughter, abundance, right? And when we feel those emotions, we move past those old emotions that we used to feel, that we used to think defined us, and we move into a place where we are greater than our environment. So how does this affect you today, whether you're a trader or not? Now, we all have emotional wounds, right? Most people tend to bury those wounds, tend to bury these emotions, and they move towards the external environment to stimulate them. Now, they might do things such as, this could be you, right? You might do something such as wear a mask and have to be a certain persona in front of certain people, right? And that can get quite tiring sometimes, right? You might always have to feel like you're the fixer in the family, or you might always have to feel like you're the funny one in the friend group when you feel like that's not really you, but you need to put on that persona because that's just who you think or who you feel that you are, but it's not, right? So that can be one way. Another way could just be pure external validation or external stimuli from things such as cars, buying a new car, right? Buying a £5,000 watch, going on a $10,000 shopping spree in all the amazing designer stores, going on vacation for the sake of going on vacation. We're trying to make ourselves feel better, and we might feel better. I'm not saying you won't. You might feel better, but for how long? And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be experiencing those things. What I'm saying is that you're using those things to help you feel better on the inside, but then what happens is just like an addiction, guys. If someone has alcohol once to try and numb some sort of pain that they're feeling of anxiety, depression, whatever it is, they eventually start building up a tolerance for it. So they need more of it the next time. So the first time you do a shopping spree, it might be 500. The next time it'll need to be 600, and then it'll need to be 1,000, then it'll need to be 2,000. And you're just going to keep increasing that. And it gets to a point where people are maxing out their credit cards to buy all this shit to either impress themselves or impress other people. And again, it doesn't make them feel whole and complete on the inside, right? They're using this external to make them feel better on the internal. And if they don't have that, then they don't know how to feel. Those buried emotions will start coming up and they don't want to feel that, so they suppress it. Essentially, what's happening is that you're trying to escape this emptiness by overstimulating yourself from the environment around you. Now, I want to read something from a passage from a book. It's called How to Break the Habit of Being Yourself, or Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Some try really hard to make buried feelings stay buried by diving further into their external world. They buy new sports cars, things. Others lease boats, another thing. Some go on a long vacation, a place. Yet others join new social clubs to meet new contacts or make new friends, which is people. Some get plastic surgery, which is the body. Many completely redecorate or remodel their homes, which is really acquiring things and experiencing a new environment. Now, when we're not trying to escape from this emptiness, or when we're running from any emotion whatsoever that is painful, it is because to look at it is too uncomfortable. So when the feeling starts to get a bit out of control, most people turn on their TVs, they surf the internet, or call or text someone. In a matter of moments, we can alter our emotions so many times. We can view a sitcom or a YouTube video or laugh hysterically, then watch a football game to feel competitive, then watch the news and be angered or fearful. All these outer stimuli can easily distract us from those unwanted feelings inside. Now you can tell I was reading this book very recently, or reading this part of the book very recently, and I decided to make a video. Now that overstimuli of your external environment, again, we come back to dopamine, right? You get a dopamine rush from watching a movie. You're going to want to recreate that feeling, and you're trying to find the perfect movie one night, and then that one night turns into every other night, and then it's every night you're watching a film, and then it's like you're trying to use films and TV to escape. I did this quite a lot. I used to use TV and film, mainly films, just escape my reality because I wasn't comfortable with feeling certain emotions. And so I would use films like Marvel and Avengers. And to be fair, I did learn a lot from those films in a way, but I was mainly using it just to escape. Now, I want to go into trading and how this relates to trading. You're using your external environment to make you feel better internally. And we're taking this mindset into trading. How do you think your results are going to play out? Every time you get a loss, you'll be sad. Every time you get a win, you'll be euphoric. And you're going to be addicted to that euphoric feeling of getting a win each time. And you'll start setting expectations, and, you know, £30 is not enough, so then next time you want to go for £50, and then now £50 is not enough, so now this time you want to go for 100. Then you start over leveraging, and you're focusing on the outcome too much. You're trying to control the outcome too much. You're trying to control how much money you're making each week. Oh, this week I made 10%. You know what? Next week we're going for 20%. What starts to happen? You'll be letting the market dictate how you feel on a day-to-day basis. And unconsciously, you'll become a prisoner of the market. Now, we've got to break free of those shackles, guys, and this is why I made this video. Because I was in that position. I was in that position where I was a slave to the market, I was a prisoner to the market, and I didn't even know. Because I was using it to essentially make myself feel a certain way, wanting to feel happy, but I never could. And so I started settling to feel sorry for myself, and because I was getting so many losses. And then that's what I thought that my identity was, that I was someone who lost in the markets. No, I had to discover that that wasn't me. And that's why I made this video, guys. It's to help you understand that trading is more than just a strategy. Yeah, everyone can have a strategy. Everyone can have a strategy. It's your psychology moving into it. Because you're focusing on the external environment too much, what starts to happen is that we'll set a goal for trading. I don't know, let's say you want to retire your parents, right? You want to get a house, or you want to move out, or you want to get a car, you want to buy a watch, whatever, I don't know, whatever that goal is for you, right? What we start to do is that you will start to focus on that a bit too much. And what will start to happen is that in your trading, you'll be thinking about the car and the watch or whatever it is, and you'll be trading to be like, oh, all right, I need to make X amount of money per day so that I'll be able to afford this. And so you start looking at making X amount of money per day or per week, and you're trying to focus and you're trying to control the outcome too much. Now, when you're trying to control the outcome too much, what happens is that over time, that ultimately builds fear. It ultimately builds fear, and it ultimately builds fear of loss. So when you're moving into trades, you're feeling more of a fear of loss. You're feeling more FOMO. And that will ultimately manifest loss into your life. Now, I want to give an example of that. And this happened to me about a month ago. So I forecasted this absolutely amazing trade on gold, which I ended up entering, and we were in good profits. Now, I was holding that trade or I wanted to hold that trade for at least maybe a couple of days, because I had quite large targets in mind. And so I got into the trade, I held it overnight, and I woke up the next day, I went to the gym, and as I was finishing the gym session, I checked the trade, and the trade was in decent profits. Trade was in decent profits. Now, it wasn't like nowhere near my target, so I definitely understood that this could go a lot further. but price started to retrace. Now at this point, I started to not be like, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna let it go. I've got my trade management in place, and whatever happens, happens. No, I didn't do that. I got fearful that this could retrace and I would lose out on my profits and I'll probably hit my stop loss. So I put my stop loss to break even, and then I closed like, I think about 40% of the trade. Then I went home and I freshened up and everything, and I sat down and I saw the trade retraced even more. And at this point, I got quite fearful. I was like, hey, you know what? These are some good profits. I don't want to lose out on any more of these profits. I'm just going to close the trade. And I closed the trade. And I was like, you know what? It was pretty decent. I made about 1.5-2%. That's cool. That's great. What happened half an hour later? Price dropped in my direction. It dropped. And it dropped hard. It dropped like, I think I bagged about 60 pips. It dropped another 100 pips plus. Almost 200 pips. And it made me feel disappointed. It made me feel frustrated. It made me feel betrayed in all of these emotions. And because I had this fear of loss at the time, because I was too focused on the outcome, I started to revenge trade without knowing. And I started to revenge trade, and ultimately, I didn't understand this until I journaled it, but I revenge traded and I lost out all the profits I made that week, and I think I ended the week in a loss. And I was, again, very annoyed at myself because I was like, we were in profits, we had profits for the week, and I revenge traded and it all went away, and I actually ended up, ending the week on a loss. When I went to my journal and I started to journal my language and I started to read through my language journal on how I was talking to myself throughout the week, something happened. It just clicked. I realized, holy shit, I manifested that because I was fearing loss because I was focused on the outcome too much. And when it dropped, I ended up revenge trading, which ultimately led me to actually losing out on profits anyways. There's me thinking I'm closing the trade out early because I'm protecting profits, which again, it's not a bad thing. I'm bagging my profits. That's great. But because I felt like I was in this sense of loss, I was in this fear of loss, I was too focused on the outcome, I ended up manifesting loss. Focus on the internal. Focus on working on yourself. Focus on building yourself. Focus on your personal development. Start meditating. Write out beliefs and emotions that you have that you don't want to feel anymore. Let them go. Start replacing them with new emotions. Start meditating, start becoming conscious and aware of your thoughts, and realize that, happiness is not on the external. It starts with you. It starts on the internal. Right? If you start to work on yourself, what will start to happen is that will transpire into trading. It's learning to become detached from any outcome. If you're detached from any outcome, if you're at peace with any outcome, and you're letting go of any outcome, what starts to happen is that you focus more on the process. There's another book, if you guys have not read the book, it's called Trading in the Zone. Very, very popular book. I would listen to it and I would read it, I would write notes on it. That's exactly what I did. I listened to the audiobook, I wrote notes on it, and I listened to the audiobook 2, 3, 4 times just to ingrain it a few times into my mind. I'm probably going to want to listen to it a lot more now. And it's a book I'll pick up every now and then to listen to because it's got so much in there which is so good for you. And it can definitely help you on your way to letting go of the outcome, being detached from the outcome, and focusing more on the process. Build processes in place. Have meditation, being detached from the outcome, have your trading plan, have a trade management plan, have a risk management plan, have some daily routines, right? And start building yourself, because what that will do, you will move away from getting happiness from winning a trade, and you will get happiness from the internal. How do you get happiness from the internal? Because you start to do and be a certain way. You're building certain habits. You're being a certain way on the charts. You're being a certain way while you're trading. You're being patient. You're being grateful. You're being strategic. You're being relentless. You're passionate. You're being passionate. You're doing all of these things. And that starts to build your self-confidence. And that's on the internal. There's no external thing that will ever jolt you. No losing trade, no winning trade will ever make you feel any better or worse. Does not mean you can not give yourself a pat on the back if you've done very well in a trading week. Definitely do that. You're celebrating yourself. That's a good thing. But you're not reliant on that. So that's really it, guys. I really wanted to share that with you. You're completely detached from the outcome if you do that. You're completely detached from the environment, and you can let your internal guide you. There was a lot to take in today. I know that. It's definitely something which I've been working on a lot. Again, for me, it's probably the best thing I've done for myself recently, to really start detaching from myself from this external environment, especially, with my environment growing up, with the people that I surrounded myself with, and of course with family as well. We're all way too focused on the external gratification of things. So, whatever it is, guys, just if there's certain things you got to let go of, maybe this video triggered some of those things. I watched videos similar to this. For me, what triggered it was that I needed to stop watching porn. I needed to stop watching too many movies. I needed to stop masturbating. I needed to stop doing all that shit and start focusing on myself and start building empowering habits. And when I started doing that, things like meditating, cold showers and stuff, it really started to improve my trading. It was crazy. It was nothing to do with trading, but it started to improve my trading. And I started to journal and do all these different things. And again, journaling is a great thing to do. That's a big part of the process of becoming a great trader. So that's enough for this video. I won't be sharing too much else. If there is any other direction you guys want me to go, definitely comment in the comment section or like this video. But with that being said, guys, I appreciate you tuning in again and taking your time out. And until the next one, much love and peace.